Riverina is a food bowl, really, and there's an incredible diversity of crops and industries in the regions. In Southern Cotton, we're about educating people on the facts of agriculture. So the facts that the farmers in this region are the most sustainable, efficient and highest quality growers of not only cotton but all the irrigated crops in the region.
The cotton industry is quite innovative, particularly the Australian cotton industry. There's been a lot of research and development, and there still is a lot of research and development today going into how we can improve production systems, how we can improve water use efficiency through cotton.
It is a bit of a misconception that how much water and rice crops use. So you look in the different area and the different crops that are grown. A lot of growers now are going to return per megalitre, and out of all the broadacre crops in this area, cotton is the best return per megalitre. Growers are getting about $250 per bale return per meg, whereas a rice crop can be 90 to 120 and a corn crop's about 150. So what they're finding is growers can grow more crop with less water, basically.
From 10 years ago, there's been some significant changes to the industry through biotechnology. So the biggest difference is reduction in pesticide use. Cotton had a bad reputation previously for high insecticide use. That's been reduced by roughly 85% with the introduction of Bollgard 2 technology. Basically, Bollgard 2 is an insecticidal product, so in the cotton plant it expresses a protein which controls the Heliothis caterpillar. It's just expressed in all plant tissue, so Heliothis caterpillar being the main pest in cotton previously has been taken care of through Bollgard 2.
The yields have been rising and the adoption of the cotton in the area is also increasing because of the Monsanto technology with the Bollgard in the crop to take away the risk of Heliothis pressure and tipping out and setting the crop back, as well as some of the varieties that CSD have produced, the 71 and 74 BRF. They're very indeterminate varieties that pack the fruit on early, and we're just managing those with picks to get the best result at the end of the day.
We're getting a change in variety, so we're phasing out Bollgard 2 and moving into Bollgard 3, so that should be released in the next couple of years. There was one issue that the South faced in the past in terms of having discounts for low micronair cotton. That won't be a problem going forward, so we'll have varieties that are sort of more tailored to southern New South Wales. So in terms of the characteristics of the varieties we have two varieties that are suitable for southern New South Wales. They're full season varieties. In terms of this being a short season area where it only accumulates just enough heat units, the two varieties that we do have are full season, as I said, but we utilise those varieties to maximise the yield potential in this area.
So in the last 3 to 4 years we've been out yielding some of the northern valleys, which has been a surprise. So getting really good. Most growers are averaging from that sort of 10 to 12.5, 13 bales to the hectare across their farm, which is quite profitable. The main considerations the farmers need to make is they need to get their crop in on time. There's a definite window from sort of the end of September through to the early October. Get that crop through to cutout, which is generally towards the end of January, in order to be able to get it matured and defoliate that crop so we can start picking late April to early May, and that gives us the best fibre quality and results. The soils and the layouts in this region, they do vary a lot compared to other traditional cotton growing regions. We have a big difference in soil from sort of a redder, sandier soil to some really heavy black soil that really holds the water. So what we find, we can use that to our advantage. The redder soil will get better early establishment, so we'll go and plant those first and then into the heavier soil types. The layouts, yeah, they're all mostly sort of either furrows or with pipes over the bank or bankless channels. So there's a mixture of what people are doing. They're getting similar results. So there's a lot of different combinations that are used down here, which seem to be working well. In conversion from a rice-based farming system into a cotton system, generally the layouts are slightly different. So you're going from a flat border check scenario into row crop. So it takes a little bit of different machinery, different layouts, and a little bit to get it from going from an anaerobic environment to an aerobic environment. So there's a bit of a change there. But for growers that have been previously growing soybeans and corn, sorghum, other summer crops, it's quite simple. It's basically just slightly different fertiliser regimes and different seed in the planter box and just management through the season, so it's quite easy for those guys to switch over. The main considerations for a rice grower going into a cotton grower is to have time between the country. So we're getting the best results where we're going for a rice crop over the summer and then fallowing it through, putting a winter cereal in. The following summer we do the earthworks and pull it back into the right levels and beds, and then going into a cotton crop. Generally when they've gone straight from rotten rice to cotton, it hasn't worked so well, but if you have that bit of a break and a little bit for the time for the soil to go back to an aerobic environment, it usually works out a lot better.
For people that want to step into the crop, they need to work pretty closely with an agronomist, and that'll be a weekly visit, and that will get them through from all the pre-planting, planting, management of the crop through the season to picking. And that's pretty important. When you're making that transition into growing a new crop, you need that support behind you. So Elders and other businesses within the area now are starting to develop that expertise within the crop, and they can provide that support to growers. Cotton industry is very open. The sharing of information is second to none. I don't think there's another industry that I've been involved with, from horticulture to broadacre winter cereals, that is open and expansive in sharing their information as other crops.
Cotton coming into this area has been a really refreshing thing for the MIA. It's certainly given us another choice of crop. I've been a farmer for 25 years now. When we started farming, we were predominantly rice and sheep. Because of the drought and other things, we got rid of the livestock and have just concentrated now on row crop farming. And cotton came along 4 years ago, and that gave us another really valid choice of commodity to grow.
We moved from our traditional crops like rice and maize and that sort of thing, few cereal crops, into cotton 4 years ago. And the move was we actually got a little bit of rain and we got a little bit of water back, and cotton was fairly attractive at the time financially, and quite a good rotation for us. As everything, when it's new, it's always a bit of a risk, and I guess the push was really financial decision in the end. What we can return per meg is the most important thing. What's allowed us to grow the cotton down here and grow more of it is the new gin that's been put in, the Southern Cotton Gin, which is good for us as we're only sort of 5 to 10 k's down the road. So that's been a pretty important part of what we do here.
Southern Cotton was born out of 6 grower directors who were growing cotton already but taking their cotton to northern New South Wales. The cost of that freight was quite expensive, and they thought about their freight savings if they had a local gin and how quickly that payback might be if there was a gin in this region. So they started investigating the potential of putting a cotton gin in this region. They talked to a lot of other farmers and they had big meetings and everybody got enthusiastic. So June 2011, they decided, yep, we'll build a gin. Everybody sowed in that October, and then the pressure was on to have the gin here ready to go. So it was a massive 12 months, but on June 17, 2012, we pressed the first bale, and the industry has really exploded from there on. Southern Cotton is a truly independent gin. So as an independent gin, we're not ginning for just one merchant, we'll gin for whatever merchant the grower sells to. So that's our major point of difference. Some of our other points of difference is just our vision to exceed expectations. So we work with the grower and try and provide really personal service in terms of all areas of the logistics. The RFID number in the module, that unique 11-digit number, is the basis of the tracking system from the field all the way to the finished bale. So the finished bale numbers are ginned against that RFID number, and the farmer gets the classing result, the yield data, everything about those finished bales. Then he can transpose back to the module number in the field, and then he can make decisions, he can have a look at what he's done in the field to produce those results. Our other points of difference are that we maximise our payment on seed yield. So other cotton gins might set a nominal seed yield. We try and measure the seed yield and absolutely hit it on the nail so that the grower's getting paid for the maximum amount of seed yield that we estimate that the seed yield will be. So that gives a greater return to the grower. And in fact, in 2013, that returned an extra $880,000 to growers that, compared to the return in other gins, would have been absorbed by gin operations.
I think there's a lot of positives for the cotton industry down here for growers that are looking to get into cotton. There's a lot of support from the resellers, from the industry, from guys like Southern Cotton to get the cotton ginned. It's quite a streamlined process. It's just take that initial step, grow your 50, 150 hectares the first year, and generally we find guys will go a lot more hectares after that.
Resellers like Elders and other business houses around the area are helping assist new growers to come into the crop. We have deferred payment terms on inputs, and quite often that can extend some of the payment dates through till September, and at that stage a lot of the cotton has been grown and ginned, and most growers would have their income back in their bank before they have to outlay a lot of the costs.
The foray of cotton into the Murrumbidgee irrigation area has been a fantastic outcome for irrigators. It's just another great option for our irrigators.